Hi there, my name is Cynthia Wakio, and today we're going to be looking at a very interesting topic. You get your CV looked at, you're called in for an interview. But when you get to an interview, how do you sell your value? How do you stand out of the competition? Because of course there's competition if you've gotten there. And I'm joined by our interview coach, Mary Amondo, who is going to be telling us how you can position yourself and how you can sell your value to the potential employer. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Akio, for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Such an interesting topic today.
Yes. So when we say you're selling your value, what do we usually mean?
Selling your value during an interview, it's all about, I look at it like a strategic positioning. What I mean by strategic positioning as a candidate, are you able to identify your unique, or rather to establish your unique positioning in this role that you're going to be interviewed for?
Yeah.
And then even after establishing that unique positioning, another thing when it comes to selling your value is, are you able to now showcase that your uniqueness, the value of that uniqueness that you have over other candidates that are equally going to be interviewed for the same role? And then lastly, on selling your value, after establishing your unique positioning and being able to show the value of your uniqueness, it's also about now being able to demonstrate your ability. Do you have proof of your ability now based on your uniqueness compared to other candidates that are going to be interviewed for the same thing? So it is all about strategic positioning. So you position yourself strategically for that role that you're going to be interviewed for, because it goes without saying there are so many candidates who have also been shortlisted for the same, and maybe one is more conversant with a specific aspect, maybe the technical aspect, and you're coming in with a heavy load of the soft skill aspect. So how have you positioned yourself uniquely to be able to sell yourself for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while you're there, I want us to dig deeper on how you can sell the
how.
value. Yeah, I mean, with more practical tips.
Yes.
Just go ahead. Yeah.
Definitely. The how now is what carries the day, because when you're able to identify your unique positioning, then now you think of how can I be able to bring this out during the interview. And number one thing, there are so many aspects to be able to sell your value when you go for an interview. Of course, we can't overlook, number one, the physical appearance. You ensure that you look sharp, you look corporate, you've dressed for the job. But the most important thing, number one, is on focusing on the employer's needs. What is in need for these employers? Because every employer, there is, they have problems, they have challenges, they have issues that they're looking for someone to come on board to help them be able to sort them out. So focus more on the employer needs, not on your own needs as a candidate. And this is where most candidates don't get it right, because they focus more on themselves. For the purposes of the interview, make it more about the employer. What are some of the challenges they could be going through? Have I done my industry research? Where are they at the moment as an organization? Which sector are they in, or which industry? And over and above that, what are their pain points? If I am brought on board, am I able to position myself as the solution provider to the gaps that they have? So that is number one, to be able to sell your value. Because getting to know their pain points as an organization with regards to that role you're being interviewed for, it will help you to be able to identify, now tailor it to your uniqueness, the value of your uniqueness, and also be able to have proof of your ability now to deliver.
Yeah.
Then secondly, the second most important thing now to be able to sell yourself is also think of we normally call it an elevator speech. And in an interview setup, an elevator speech is all about the introduction. Tell us about yourself. Most candidates struggle with this introduction question, while it is normally, it determines to a bigger percentage. In fact, I refer to it as a make it or break it question for the candidate, because this is what will invite the interviewers to want to hear more from you. Yeah. So an elevator speech can be in form of the introduction, tell us about yourself, or sometimes the interviewers, after taking you through so many questions, they still come back and ask, why should we hire you? Or why do you feel you are the best fit for this position. That is where now the elevator speech comes in. What do I mean by elevator speech during an interview? Look at that job description vis-a-vis the previous positions that you have held, and ask yourself which roles cut across the current position that I hold or the previous positions that I held, which duties and responsibilities that I had been tasked with that is relevant to this employer that I can be able to speak about.
Yeah.
You find candidates speaking, covering almost everything on their duties and responsibilities, what they have handled. Some of them are not even relevant to the position you are being interviewed for. So that is very important. A good duration for an elevator speech should be between 2 to 3 minutes during an interview.
Yeah.
Of course, for those who are in the sales industry or sector, it should not even go more than 30 seconds to be able to sell. So the same thing applies also during the interview. The third thing that we can't end this session without mentioning is the CV. Most candidates overlook their resume.
Yeah.
And maybe this position you applied for it a month ago or 2 months ago. You've been shortlisted for an interview. You've not taken your time to go through your CV again, just to familiarize yourself with the content. I normally call it content mastery of your CV. Why is it important? Because the first 3 questions a candidate is asked during the interview, right after the introduction, are normally role specific. So if the candidate is not able to respond, to give the kind of response the interviewers are expecting, they will automatically switch to your CV and they begin to go through. Maybe this is a position you held from your previous employer, and they'll be like, tell me about some of the things you were tasked with when you were working with company ABX as an accountant, for example. So if you had not familiarized yourself, remember they have your CV there. They are looking at it as you speak. That's why it is important. It helps you also to be able to sell yourself well as a candidate. And the last thing I want to mention is your track record. This is where you are able to stand out over the other candidates. What do I mean by a track record? As much as employers during the interview, they're looking for a candidate who is able to demonstrate their knowledge of the role, they're also very keen on how has these years of experience that you've mentioned you've had prepared you now for this position? Have you had an opportunity to tackle some of these tasks in your previous positions that you've held? So the track record is very important, and there's normally a very interesting technique that works. These techniques, someone who is watching this video should be able to come for our coaching sessions to be able to know how do I sell now myself by mentioning, giving examples of specific work-related situations that I have handled in a very precise and to the point manner, in a manner that I'm able to capture the mind of the interviewer.
Selling value.
Selling value.
At the end of the day.
Very important.
And being a solution to the employer problems.
Definitely.
Then you get to stand out.
Very true.
So thank you so much for that. for those pointers. I'm sure somebody will maybe listen and even maybe come for the last part where you mentioned about
the coaching session.
Yes. All right. Thank you for watching this video. We hope that these tips are usually helpful when it comes to your coming job interview. And if you have an upcoming job interview, we do offer interview coaching services, and we have more information about the service in the link below, in the description link. And we hope to see you in our offices as Mary takes you through the process, and we hope to see you in the next video. Bye.